Hi, this is Daniel, and today I'd like to show you several different audio systems I've created in FMOD. For this project, I've designed a futuristic space level in Unity using assets from the Unity Asset Store. First, I'd like to talk about the weapon system I've created, which consists of several parts including a crossfade between two different weapon fire sounds based on the distance from the shooter, a delay that occurs based on the distance, and bullet flyby sounds which are triggered around the player being shot at. When the player's distance away from the shooter increases, I wanted the delay between the shooting sound and muzzle flash to increase. Since there is no event start offset in FMOD, I used a delay effect to automate the delay time with the built-in distance parameter in FMOD. Although this method does work, the delay time is constantly being updated in real time, which means that when the player is moving while the shooting sound is heard, unwanted artifacts will also be heard. To circumvent this problem, I had a custom parameter and delay effect on the main shooting events, fire range long and fire range short. I set the delay parameters to hold value during playback, and then nested these events inside of the distance event where FMOD's built-in distance parameter can automate the delay time effect of each individual nested event. With this method, no artifacts are heard. I was also able to use this tactic with the ricochet event. Along with the shooting sound delay, I used the distance parameter to automate a wide range of other parameters so that on extreme ends of the distance spectrum, the sounds are drastically different. In general, when the player grows further away from the shooter, in addition to a different sound source fading in, I automated a lot of reverb and spatialization parameters to change based on how the gunshot would be perceived at a further distance away from the source. I also set up numerous trigger boxes around the player so that when the raycast emitter from the weapon hits one of the boxes, a flyby or impact sound is heard. Each trigger box has a unique tag attached to it so that when it's hit by the raycast, the corresponding event can be played in order to play the correct positional sound relative to the position of origin from the raycast. In FMOD, I have different panning, volume, and frequency information for each event, so when a bullet whizzes by from left to right, this is reflected in the panning, or when a bullet passes behind the player, more of the high frequencies as well as the general volume level are attenuated. The dialogue system I created was inspired by a game called Psychonauts developed by Double Fine Games. The dialogue is randomly generated from fragments of sentences so that the robot in the jail cell sounds like he's constantly ranting and conspiring. The fragments are divided into different categories which have the ability to transition to other random categories. For example, the fragments in the column 1 Start Conspirator can transition to column 2 Looping Action, but there is also an equal chance that they could transition to column 3, semi-terminal. In FMOD, I've set up a dynamic system which allows for these possibilities using transition markers where the probability for each transition is assigned a range of values from 0 to 100. The result of this is a loop of random, yet still somewhat coherent sentences. In Unity, I've set up a random value in the update function, which is assigned to the transition parameter in FMOD so that every frame a new value is set.
Recently, I've been hearing rumors that the extremists would die for everyone without a central ion system. Why would they think? Isn't it the marshals who are keeping silent about it? Is it just me, or does it smell bad in here? Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yes, the central team said that they're going to destroy everyone without a central ion system to overtake what little remains. Why would they think? Isn't it the marshals who have plans to destroy us all? If Charles is right, then I won't question it any longer.
The occlusion system I've created reduces the volume and high frequencies based on what tag I've assigned to the game object. The sound source draws a raycast, and if one of these tag objects are in the way of the path of the raycast, the sound is occluded accordingly. Near the shooter, I've set up a glass panel, which has a greater reduction in values compared to the dividers between each of the shooting stalls. For the outside ambience, I have a 2D sound source that is occluded by the ship and is meant to mostly be heard outside. As the player approaches the door, a hint of the atmosphere can be heard due to the occlusion settings I've placed on the door. Once the player leaves the ship, he becomes engulfed in the ambience. I've also set up jail cells to show varying degrees of occlusion.
Control everything. Is it just me, or does it smell bad in here? I think it was. The Space Cows, in conjunction with the Avada Corporation, plan to take what's left of it. Is it true? I must be going crazy. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yes, the Space Cows conspiring with the Blood Brothers are stealing oil from the Guardians. I think it was. The Space Cows would die for the future pioneers of space to risk saving all those who are innocent. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. It seems to be the excavators that are keeping silent about it.
Some other dynamic events I've created include Foley switches and sounds, reverb snapshot settings that fade in based on the room, and several ambiences which have a random seek setting allowing to start at various points in the audio file when they are triggered. Thanks for watching, and for more sound design work you can visit my website.